Thursday, August 23, 2012. It's an early summer morning in a peaceful neighborhood just north of Columbia, South Carolina. But on this day, there's a buzz of excitement in the air.
It was the first day of school, so you had buses back on the road, you had kids walking to school, you had parents walking their kids to school, taking their kids to school.
At a home on the north side of town, a young mother named Kristen Brown is preparing to do just that.
Come on, get buckled up. Mommy's gonna be so late for work.
Okay, Mom.
Did you get your lunch?
Here's this woman, typical morning, getting ready to take her kid to school. While departing, she looks in the neighbor's yard, and what do you see?
Hold on.
There was a body in the front yard.
She was face down in the front yard.
Moments later, Kristen's frantic 911 call reaches area dispatchers.
I just found a dead female, black young female, right next door to my house.
You just found what, ma'am?
A dead, black young female in my neighbor's front yard.
She was in shock, and for a good reason.
It's crazy. Nice neighborhood. It's the first day of school. You know, excited about the school year, excited about doing new things, and someone leaves a body in the front yard of a home. It's crazy.
Even worse, Kristen fears she might recognize the victim.
Jesus Christ, I hope it's not this little girl. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
5 days earlier, a 15-year-old girl named Gabby Swainson had disappeared just a few miles from this location. Her disappearance was all over the news, and police issued a massive manhunt. Kristen had every reason to believe that it was her.
We've got help on the way, ma'am, okay? Just try to stay calm and the help will be there soon.
Jesus Christ.
But as authorities race to the scene, they know Gabby isn't the only young woman to have gone missing in Columbia during the past 24 hours.
The other young woman's name was Almanita Smith. She was a beautiful 26-year-old woman who was a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army and a master's student. Her family had reported her missing 24 hours earlier.
But just who was this person lying lifeless in the yard? And how had she gotten there? The answer will tear a hole in a family's heart and bring investigators face to face with a monster.
In 21 years of law enforcement, that was absolutely the worst thing that I'd ever heard.
Born in Tuskegee, Alabama in 1986, it was clear there was always something special about Almanita Smith.
She was very outgoing, very bright, compassionate, very smart, had quick wit, and was pretty much a born leader.
Anything she put her mind to and her heart to it, she did it. She was just that go-getter.
In fact, by the time Almanita hit high school, this doe-eyed beauty displayed a drive and maturity well beyond her years.
She was your typical teenager, but when it was time for her to take on life seriously, she took it on seriously, and she had goals. She had things that she wanted to do.
She was just stellar in school. I mean, that was just her thing. That was real big to her. She was on the basketball team. She was on the track team. She was a wavette or a dance squad for the band. She played tennis.
She actually won homecoming queen. She was turning into this gorgeous little 5'3" woman.
And Almanita believed it was her destiny to serve in the United States military. After high school, she enlisted in the Army.
She saw herself being an officer. She saw herself married. She saw herself one day with kids. But more than anything, she saw herself making sure her mom and her dad were taken care of.
True to form, in just a few short years, Almanita rose to the rank of staff sergeant while earning a college degree and serving 2 dangerous tours of duty in Iraq.
She was very driven, very motivated. It's like, what's the point of doing it if you can't be the best at doing it?
After Almanita returned from Iraq, she settled in Columbia, South Carolina for grad school. She joined the Army Reserves, earned an MBA, and began working on another master's in education.
She's a homeowner by the age of 24 with 2 degrees, MBAs. That's very impressive for someone her age.
She wanted to retire out of the Army. She went to school for business. Once she finished with her military career. She wanted to open up her own little club/restaurant. She just wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Although Almanita dated and had boyfriends over the years, she mostly concentrated on her career and education.
She dated, but that was secondary. She spent most of her time working on herself.
But in the spring of 2012, the blossoming beauty ran into a ghost from her past. 27-year-old California native Marcus Bailey.
Almanita Smith?
Marcus, hey.
Hey, how you doing?
I've been good. How are you?
She had met him during a tour in Iraq.
Here's this guy, Marcus Bailey, another veteran. Handsome, the guy looks great in his uniform, but moreover, he could relate to her. They had something in common, and that was serving in the U.S. Army.
He told Almanita that he was still in the Army and that he was a drill sergeant stationed nearby at Fort Jackson.
So, any plans?
Well, I always had dreams of being a club DJ.
When she met him, you know, he was doing well. He was nice. He's in the military as well. Very sweet, very focused, just a nice guy.
Over the next few months, Almanita and Marcus did their best to stay in touch.
When they would go to parties, they would see each other and talk, casual conversation. But she told me that they wanted to be in a relationship.
I think there was just a period where she met him and kind of moved fast.
Almanita has this nice home, 4 bedrooms. She's 24 years old. She's got everybody but somebody to share this with. He needed a place to stay. She was lonely. They were dating. It only made sense in her mind that, hey, why don't you come live with me?
While it seemed like Almanita's life was a fantasy come true, the summer of 2012 brought with it an even more tangible accomplishment. On August 12th, she earned her master's degree in education from Columbia College.
She had just graduated with her master's degree, and the following week, she was supposed to go through an officer program.
It seemed like life was coming up roses for Almanita. That's why what happened next was so impossible to believe.
Her daddy and her mama was calling. The school had been calling, and that is when they realized something was wrong.
In the summer of 2012, Army reservist Almanita Smith was on the fast track to success in Columbia, South Carolina.
She had just graduated with her master's degree, and she was a top performer. She had the backing of her chain of command. They wanted to see her do great. They knew that she can do great. They just wanted to see exactly what the future held for her.
She was so driven. There are a lot of 25-year-olds that ain't doing nothing. And there are a lot of 40-year-olds that haven't completed or even remotely did half of what she had accomplished.
A string of accomplishments that Almanita happily shared with her love interest, Marcus Bailey.
She had reconnected with Marcus in the spring of 2012. They started dating, and he eventually moved into Almanita's home.
Everything was going great for her.
But that good life was about to take an unexpected and mysterious turn. It begins the morning of Wednesday, August 22nd. Almanita is scheduled to be in a class for officer candidate school, but she never arrives.
Whatever she set forth, all her goals, she wanted to accomplish them. So if there was someplace she had to be on time, she was going to be there on time. Her classmates in the program was calling her, trying to find out where she was. It was unheard of.
Hey, Almanita, you weren't in class today, so I was seeing what was going on. Give me a call back.
That was completely unlike her. She was not going to not go to school. She was a stickler for her responsibilities and what she needed to do. She would have not gone to school unless something had happened.
Almanita's classmates aren't the only ones concerned about her whereabouts.
Her dad had been calling her, and her dad couldn't get her. The school had been calling for Nita. They couldn't get her.
It was extremely out of character for her not to be in contact with her parents. Like, I know she talked to her daddy every night, like every day.
By that afternoon, there was still no sign of Almanita. It's then that her father, Harold Davis, makes a decision.
I called Nita's mom, and I called Richland County Sheriff Department.
Ma'am, my name is Harold Davis. I'm calling from Tuskegee, Alabama.
I have a daughter. My name is Almanita Smith. I haven't talked to her since Friday, and we normally talk every day or every other day. And I want to know if I can get someone to go by her home and check and see what's going on.
Okay, Mr. Davis, we're going to send an officer out there to see if they can try to make contact with her.
They send a deputy out, goes to the house, knocks on the door. Marcus answers the door.
Hi, I'm Officer O'Donnell. We're here to do a welfare check at this address.
For who?
For an Almanita Smith. You mind if we come on in?
Of course.
Are you aware where she is?
Well, she was here early today, but she went shopping. I wasn't aware that she was missing.
He was at the home by himself. He said that Almanita had left earlier that day at about 11 o'clock and had gone shopping. He said that she received a phone call from someone. He didn't know who. But he said she went into a dark-colored Toyota and left. He didn't see the driver. The driver didn't come in. The driver just beeped the horn from outside and drove off.
Marcus says, well, she's still not back. Matter of fact, and putting it on the speaker, he tries to give her a call, doesn't answer the phone. Then he even sends a text message, but yet no response.
Do you mind if we look around?
Yeah, of course.
She did a cursory search of the residence. There at that point, didn't appear to be anything out of the ordinary.
While Marcus is talking to them, he remains calm, talks to them in a normal tone, and officers being trained to spot signs of domestic violence or struggle. When they looked at Marcus, there were no signs. There were no cuts. There were no bruises, no scratches. So things appeared to be as normal.
Well, thanks. If you hear from Almanita, do you mind having her call her father? He's pretty concerned about her.
Yeah, of course.
But just what had happened to Almanita? As the hours tick by that evening, no one seems to have an answer.
I had called up a couple of her friends, and they hadn't seen her.
At this point, nobody knows who this potential guy in this dark car is. Family doesn't know. Marcus doesn't know. We're just following a story down a rabbit hole.
She would have not gone away with someone without someone knowing. I mean, she would have called.
But for officers at the Richland County Sheriff's Department, there's further cause for concern. Almanita isn't the only young African-American woman to have gone missing in Columbia this week.
At this same time, there was a missing teenager that had been missing in the neighborhood.
5 days earlier, a young girl named Gabby Swainson had disappeared. She was all over the news. This was a reoccurring story. Nobody knew where she was.
She had been missing for a while. We had believed that she had been kidnapped by someone that's close to the home.
They had organized searches, manhunts. You know, people were out trying to figure out where was this young girl.
Is it possible these two disturbing disappearances are connected? At this point, no one knows for certain.
Almanita's friends and family were deeply concerned. What are the odds of two young African-American women going missing in the same area in the same week?
But in less than 24 hours, a sickening discovery will close a chapter on one of these two missing person cases and open the door to a baffling murder investigation.
It was a shocker to me. I got a phone call from my sister, and it was awful.
That was the worst day of my life.
In less than a week, two young African-American women have gone missing in Columbia, South Carolina. The first person was a 15-year-old cheerleader named Gabby Swainson. Then, just 5 days after her disappearance, 26-year-old Almanita Smith, a beloved Army veteran, vanished as well.
Richland County is kind of a small town atmosphere. It's a very small town. People know each other. People care for each other. That's one of the things that we're known for. And you have something like this happen, it scared the community.
It was a real sense of helplessness. I didn't know what to do.
Almanita's father, Harold, is less indecisive. On the night of August 22, 2012, he makes plans to drive up from his home in Alabama to search for his daughter.
I just felt something bad. I was going to leave. I started to leave that night, but I really wasn't prepared. So I was going to leave the next morning.
Harold and his family spend a restless evening in Alabama. But on August 23rd, before they can leave town, a discovery 300 miles away changes everything.
At 6:45 a.m. on August 23rd, a woman named Kristen Brown was leaving her home in North Columbia to take her daughter to school when she saw a body lying in her neighbor's yard.
Kristen's ensuing 911 call leaves little speculation as to the identity of the female victim.
Oh my God, this is a young girl. Hey, we're getting everyone on the way, all right? And she's a sweet girl. Oh my God.
She thought maybe that was the missing person that we were looking for. You know, this was the missing teen.
Everybody thought it was Gabby Swenson.
That's the first thing that came to my head. We found her, you know, unfortunately.
Oh my God. But just before first responders arrive at the scene, a man races from the front door of 613 Heron Glen Drive. It's Marcus Bailey.
Marcus, he comes outside, and his reaction immediately is he starts sobbing. He's emotional.
Baby, wake up.
She was face down in the front yard. He rolled her over and was able to recognize her.
The victim isn't Gabby Swainson as everyone fears, but Marcus's girlfriend, Almanita Smith.
She's laying face down. He goes out and throws a blanket over the body. He was having chest pains, having a reaction to seeing the corpse.
Ain't on that, bud. Come with me.
He was having some kind of an attack. They took him to the hospital to get him evaluated.
With Almanita's grieving boyfriend now removed from the scene, investigators take their first look at their victim. And what they see isn't pretty.
It was very hot outside, and Almanita was in this state of decomposition.
The body was in a decomp state of excessive swelling, especially around the face. The tongue was swelled out of her mouth. Her limbs, you could tell, had an excessive amount of fluid in them, along with the abdomen area and the legs.
Everything starts to decompose at a different rate, but you can tell the process is in motion. Again, it's South Carolina in the summer. It was August. It's hot.
Any obvious sign of how she was killed?
But Almanita's state of decomposition presents investigators with a problem.
They couldn't get a definite cause of death. Probably could have been a strangulation. She wasn't stabbed. She wasn't shot.
And then there's the question of how Almanita's body ended up where it did. Could the mystery man she allegedly left her home with the day before have intentionally placed her here?
This is an odd case. This is a case that you don't normally see people that do this unless you're Jeffrey Dahmer or somebody that has a very twisted personality.
It suggests some kind of message. Why would someone take her away and cause her harm and then bring her back and lay her in the front yard without there being some kind of significance to that?
While Almanita's body is transported to the Richland County Medical Examiner's office for an autopsy, news of her death has reached friends and family.
Her death, great loss. It did exactly like a tsunami, an earthquake. She touched so many people's lives. It devastating.
I was called at 9 o'clock that morning and drove straight to her house. I mean, it was just it was a surreal experience for me.
While those close to Almanita begin to converge at her home, Detective Martin heads to the hospital to have a chat with Marcus Bailey.
At that point, he said that he wanted to speak with us.
I know this is a very difficult time for you, but are you comfortable answering some questions right now?
Yes, sir, I'll try.
He said Almanita was a really good person. She had just graduated from college, and she was in the process of being selected for an officer position in the Army.
While Marcus seems genuinely upset by Almanita's death, investigators want to hear his story again.
We asked him the last time he saw her again. He said he saw her on the 22nd at about 11:30, and he said that she had left with this mysterious person.
I didn't really get a good look at his face.
So you're in a relationship with Almanita together, yet you're okay with her going off with a strange man?
It's kind of complicated.
He said that they had an open relationship. Sometimes they would be together, sometimes they'd be with other people. And she was allowed to kind of do whatever she wanted to do.
She still allowed me to live there as long as I paid the rent.
But it's what Marcus says next that's the most alarming detail to investigators.
He said, well, she was picking up men on Craigslist. Men were buying her things.
The obvious fear is that maybe Almanita met somebody online, and that this person isn't just responsible for her death, but Gabby Swainson's disappearance as well.
It's not unusual for people online to exaggerate the truth about themselves a bit, let alone be totally opposite of who they really are.
But had this beautiful Army veteran really waded into the dangerous waters of online dating? That answer and more was about to swamp this investigation, leaving detectives to sort out the carnage of ill-chosen love.
This isn't what you do to people you love. This isn't how you treat people you love.
On August 23, 2012, a family's worst nightmare comes to fruition when missing 26-year-old Army Reservist Almanita Smith is found dead in the front yard of her home.
She had a bright future. Anything she wanted to do, she could have done.
It sickens you because you think about the victim, and she had a very successful future. She had a very big future. She was doing so many things to make herself better, to prepare for her life.
It's a life that everyone agrees has ended far too soon, making detectives more determined than ever to catch Almanita's killer. But having just interviewed her boyfriend, Marcus Bailey, identifying this individual may not be easy.
Marcus said he and Almanita were in an open relationship and that she was meeting other people online. He said Almanita left the day before her death with a man he had never seen before.
Back at the crime scene, investigators begin questioning Almanita's friends and family for the first time. When investigators ask about Almanita's dating life, they find it difficult to believe that the straight-laced overachiever would have been so reckless.
She don't meet strangers. She don't meet people on dating sites, Facebook, Instagram, or any of those things. That's not who she was.
As for her relationship with Marcus, they say at first Almanita had a hard time resisting the charms of her strapping soldier.
I think she met him, and he's one of those people where if that's your thing, he kind of looked right on paper.
But others say their first impression of Marcus left much to be desired.
I can honestly say when I met this character, I was not happy. And I told her that. I thought he was a loser.
The way he dressed, the way he drank all the time, the way he interacted with her. I mean, he was just a thug. That's the bottom line. He was a thug.
But Almanita apparently saw something in Marcus that she liked, and she wasn't one to back down from a challenge.
She has a very good heart, very big heart. Maybe she could help him change. That is the impression that I got, that she could help him change.
For the first few months, friends say it seemed like their lives were on solid ground. But then Almanita learned the truth about Marcus's military record.
She found out about some stuff that he was keeping from her about his past.
The military is really a small world. It's like 2 degrees of separation.
And the truth of the matter, friends say, is that Marcus had been living a lie all along.
Marcus Bailey had been dishonorably discharged for fraternization, meaning that he was having relationships with the enlisted personnel that he was supposed to train.
He was sleeping with privates. When you're a drill sergeant, you are not supposed to have any type of sexual contact at all.
A fact Marcus failed to share with Almanita.
Last text she sent me about him, she said, I found out that he was not who he say he was.
He had let her believe that he was being demoted, but he had already been kicked out in the whole nine because, you know, the military doesn't play that anymore.
I heard that he was actually getting up, putting on his uniform every day like he was going to work. And he was still representing himself as if he was an active duty soldier.
He got kicked out. He didn't have anywhere to go. He couldn't find a job. He wasn't working or anything.
But besides misrepresenting his own work and military record, it turns out Marcus had another secret. And this one, friends say, was a doozy.
Who's this Janelle that keeps texting you?
Nobody.
Nobody. I don't believe you. Who is she?
Marcus was in fact married to a woman that lived in Colombia.
Your wife?
Although he was estranged from his wife, he had a young son, and she was pregnant with their second child.
When were you going to tell me that?
It's over with.
It's over with.
Yes.
She started to see him and what was going on with him for who he was and had decided she didn't want that to be a part of her life.
Come on, baby.
Don't baby me. We're done. You can pack your stuff and you can go.
When she finally found out, she wanted him to move out.
Where am I go, huh?
But she felt bad because he didn't have a place to go. So she just let him stay there, move into the other room until he was able to get on his feet.
She was trying to help him.
As for the contention that Almanita and Marcus might have had an open relationship, her family doesn't buy it.
Never. Never. So either she was with you or she was without you.
To investigators, Marcus sounds like a cancer in Almanita's life. But that still didn't mean their topsy-turvy relationship had culminated in violence. Then, on August 24th, detectives receive Almanita's autopsy report.
4 to 7 days.
Her body had been dead for days. She had been in that state of decomposition. It just wasn't possible that she was alive and well and walking the day before at noon. The lack of the insects being on her suggests that she wasn't outside. It looks more like she was stored in a house.
But as another piece of this investigation falls into place, there's a far darker chapter of this story that's yet to be told. One so terrible, it's unforgettable.
It's like looking at the devil, like soulless, like there was nothing there.
An autopsy report has just found that 26-year-old military reservist Almanita Smith died at least 3 days before her body was discovered in the front yard of her Columbia, South Carolina home, a fact that seems to contradict Almanita's on-again, off-again boyfriend, Marcus Bailey's statement to police.
He said he saw her on the 22nd at about 11:30, and she was getting dressed up and leaving the house in this mysterious car. The position of the body and where the fluid was inconsistent with what he was saying.
But phone records offer investigators another insight into Almanita's love life.
We tried to follow up with, well, who would this person be, this mysterious phone call? Well, there wasn't a phone call there that came in.
In fact, what Almanita's phone records do show is that her family and friends became concerned about her whereabouts as early as August 17th.
Trying to get in contact with you. I hope everything's okay. Yeah, but need to call me back. 2 days. This is ridiculous. If you're going to go on a disciplinary act, you need to let everybody know.
You need to call somebody and let somebody know something, baby. Anybody heard from me, everybody's calling around. You let somebody know if you're all right.
And we believe that she was last seen on the 16th, late hours of the 16th.
But just what transpired between the time Almanita had disappeared and the time her body was found on August 23rd? To unravel that mystery, detectives pull Almanita's bank and credit card records.
So we've got charges on her card during the time the autopsy report says that she's dead, including one in North Carolina. What do you think of the chances? We got some videos. Yep.
When police review the security cam footage, it's not Almanita they see on a 6-day shopping spree.
On video, we have images of Marcus using the credit cards.
There were clothing receipts where he had gone and made some purchases with her credit card. I believe there was a couple other receipts there. They were ATM receipts.
Then on August 19th, Marcus's 27th birthday, he really dropped some cash.
He went to a nightclub. When he started spending money at this nightclub, the bill was close to $500.
He had a birthday party for himself. Bought out sections in the club and bought out bottles and was just buying bottles for people.
The next night, he takes them to North Carolina. And again, he's using Almanita's credit cards. And they go into a nightclub and they spend another large sum of money, and then he takes everybody out to breakfast.
And this was during the period that her father couldn't get hold of her.
In light of their growing suspicion, detectives decide to execute a search of Almanita's home. Almost immediately, they notice something very odd.
There was a lot of air fresheners. A lot of air fresheners in there.
You're almost smacked in the face with this air freshener. There was just so many different smells and coverings going on in this room. There were competition. It was not so much nauseating, but it was just overwhelming when you first walked in the door.
But underneath all that industrial aroma is a smell seasoned investigators are all too familiar with.
You smell that?
Yeah.
It was a decomp odor. It was the smell of death.
There's nothing like it. There's no mistaking it. You smell it once, you'll know again 20 years down the road. When you smell it, you'll know. You can't mask it.
When I opened up the dryer, there was a blanket, just like the one that had been placed over her body by Marcus Bailey. And the smell of decomp coming off of that was excessive.
I think we'd call them the cadaver dogs.
I think you're right.
This is a dog that looks for decaying flesh and human flesh. It doesn't look for anything else other than that.
As the dog makes its way around the home, its well-trained nose soon locks in on 2 specific rooms, Almanita's master bedroom and a spare bedroom down the hall.
It alerts to this room, and it alerts to this bedding, and it alerts to the different parts of the house, saying that a body had been stored there.
If the dog could talk, it would have definitely said, this has been here for a while.
Investigators suspect the transporting of the body caused the pungent odor to waft through the house. which explains why officers didn't smell the stench during their initial cursory search. When investigators searched the garage, it appears that Marcus had been preparing to make a fast getaway.
His clothing was all in bags next to the car in the garage. Inside the car were her credit cards, her military ID, and other things.
While officers continue their search of the premises, they know one burning mystery is finally over.
The evidence was telling us specifically that it was not a whodunit. It was obvious that he was the one that had done this, the one that had killed her.
That afternoon, police arrest 27-year-old Marcus Bailey for the death of his former lover, Almanita Smith.
He was arrested at the hospital. I was mad. I was really mad.
I don't think this is domestic violence, and that's something that I've kind of been on the fence about since it's happened. This was just murder, flat out, cold-blooded murder.
While family and friends try to come to grips with the chilling truth, the full spectrum of Marcus's betrayal would soon be illuminated and would shine a light on pure evil.
The dude just had to be nuts. Couldn't be no other explanation besides that you crazy. But then you get out and you live in life while she dead and gone. The fact that he picked up a woman and brought her back to her home was the part that was sickening.
It really hit her family hard. Her mother, Thelma, and her father, Harold, they took it both very hard. And I can't imagine what that's like, because she was a big part of their life, and they were close. And to have that taken away from them for nothing, a few $100, $1,000, whatever, in a weekend of a partying and some clothing just didn't seem fair.
On July 23, 2013, 27-year-old Marcus Bailey's murder trial gets underway inside a Columbia, South Carolina courtroom. Marcus stands accused of killing his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Army reservist Almanita Smith, in August of 2012, a crime that sickens the entire community.
I never would have thought I would be burying my baby. To know that someone, this young man, Marcus Bailey, decided to play God, he took a lot from me.
She had a bright future. She had the world. Anything she wanted to do, she could have done. And he took that.
Prosecutors say Almanita's murder was one final betrayal in a rocky romance rife with lies and false promises.
Marcus wasn't in the military as he led Almanita to believe. In fact, he was dishonorably discharged and wasn't working. And he was still married to another woman with a baby on the way. In a nutshell, Marcus wasn't the man Almanita thought he was.
Here we have two different people. You've got Almanita, whose military career is growing. She's getting commissioned as an officer in the Army. She just finished college. She owned her own home. She owned her own car. She was being successful and had a mission and a dream. And you've got Marcus. He's got nothing.
I think he was jealous of her.
And while Almanita's head was probably telling her to let Marcus go, it was her heart, prosecutors say, that enabled Marcus to remain in her home.
He didn't have anywhere to go. He didn't have any money. He didn't have a job, couldn't get a job. She was just helping him to get back on his feet.
I believe Almanita had drawn a line in the sand. You're going to mow the yard. You're living here for free. You're going to do this.
Prosecutors believe Marcus balked at Almanita's demands sometime on the night of August 16, 2012.
They had guests that evening who came over on the 16th.
So, when are you gonna mow the lawn?
I told you I'd get to that.
Get to it when?
And Marcus said he wasn't going to mow the yard. It was his birthday. He didn't want to mow the grass the next day.
They were arguing during that time about him not doing his share around there and so forth. I believe that he probably murdered her that night. Probably after the friend left, they had an argument, and that's when it occurred.
I'm sick and tired of you always complaining all the damn time. You always
really?
damn complaining about every single thing.
We'll never know if it was just an argument that escalated or if he planned to kill her that night. And that we won't know because we weren't in the room, and I can't ask Almanita.
Do nothing.
Do not. Yo!
Get off of me! Get
I
off.
said, what? Shut up!
She's not breathing. You didn't call 911. You didn't try to help her. You didn't try to save her. You just let her rot like she was nothing.
He didn't have her nagging at him anymore. He was able to do what he wanted to, and he did. He went and partied all week, and he spent all her money.
I just think it was insane. It further cemented to me what his motive was. Like, you just wanted her money.
But prosecutors say the depths of Marcus's betrayal were truly sickening.
When he goes out and parties with the nightclub, he's picked up some random girl and had sex in Almanita's car. And then he goes and he picks up the clerk at the clothing store and he takes her back and has sex with her in Almanita's home. We were able to validate that. She did have sex at that time, but she became suspicious a little bit about him because he wouldn't let her go upstairs.
Let's go upstairs.
And she's like, well, let's go upstairs to the bedroom. And he wouldn't let her go upstairs.
We know that he had sexual relations with another female in the house when the body was upstairs.
In 21 years of law enforcement, that was absolutely the worst story and the worst thing that I'd ever heard. Being there, animal, sure, sheer animal.
This twisted trip finally came to an end on August 22nd.
The father had called him on the 22nd, had called 911, and then I think the rush kicked in that it was time to place the body out front.
A theory prosecutors assert that's bolstered by the trove of evidence that police recovered.
There was video footage of Marcus using Almanita's car and credit card. There were also positive hits by the police cadaver dog inside the home and on the blanket recovered inside the dryer. The evidence that Almanita died inside the house and was stored there for multiple days was overwhelming.
But despite what looks like an impossible case, Marcus's defense attorney does what he can under the circumstances.
It was the defense's idea that, yeah, I did do a lot of bad things. I may have cheated on this person. I may have used this woman's credit cards. I may have brought other women into the house, but that doesn't mean I killed her.
They wanted to attack the cadaver dog, and they wanted to attack the science, and they wanted to attack the neighbors and the witnesses and the friends, and they wanted to say all these people were just, randomly had gotten together to kind of do this to Marcus and cause Marcus all this grief.
Finally, on July 31st, 2013, the case goes to the jury. 3 hours later, they return with a verdict: guilty.
Marcus Bailey was sentenced to 50 years in prison.
50 years sounds like there's a hope that you might get out. It just feels like there's hope that you might live to get out. And I don't want him to live to get out. I want him to die in prison.
He's a sociopath, calculated, cold-blooded killer is what he is. I hope he rots in jail. I really do.
For Almanita's friends and family, the punishment can never fit the crime, nor fully explain the actions of a wolf hiding in sheep's clothing.
Was it worth it? Was it worth taking her life? Was the outcome worth you taking somebody so rare, so special, from this earth?
He didn't just take anybody. He took somebody that was special. She was an asset to everybody she touched, and that's who he took.
When you look at me, you don't see me. You see God's grace and mercy. That sustains me every day. There are times I feel like I just want to lose my mind, but I know I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay.
But in the wake of this tragedy, while Almanita's family was still healing, the residents of Columbia, South Carolina were forced to weather another tough blow.
A boyfriend of Gabby Swainson's mother, the teenager that disappeared the same week that Almanita did, ultimately confessed to killing Gabby and was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
There was no connection between Gabby Swinson's case and Almanita's case, but the good news is both families got justice in the end.
Monday, July 18, 2005, West Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's 6 p.m., and workers at a local daycare are waiting on one last parent, pregnant 24-year-old Latoya Figueroa, to pick up her daughter, Aisha.
Hi, Latoya. It's Shelly from Aisha's daycare. I was just calling to make sure that you're still going to come pick her up today.
She didn't pick up her daughter that night for daycare. Even at 6 months pregnant, just leaving her. No way. There's no way. It's not even in her physical being to be like that.
Hi, is this Antoine Jenkins?
She took pride in being a mom.
Aisha's not been picked up yet today, and I can't get in touch with her mother. Do you think there's any way that you'd be able to come pick her up?
If she couldn't pick her daughter up, she would have made arrangements for someone else to pick her up.
Unfortunately, her father was an emergency contact, so they contacted the father. He picked his daughter up. He was really concerned.
Toya, why didn't you show up? Aisha can spend the night with me, but give me a call when you can.
Hours later, Antoine still hasn't heard from LaToya. She's also a no-show at the apartment she shares with her uncle.
It's so not in her character. It's so not LaToya. Instantly, you're like, something's wrong. Something happened.
LaToya's family tries desperately to reach her, but their calls go unanswered. So they start reaching out to her closest friends, including LaToya's current boyfriend, Stephen Poche.
Hello? She was 5 or 6 months pregnant, and he was the father.
I was calling to see if you'd heard from LaToya over the last few days.
I seen you yesterday. We went to a doctor's appointment. What's up?
She didn't come home, and she didn't pick up Aisha from daycare yesterday, and that's just not like her.
What? Tell me what's going on.
Stephen was extremely concerned about not only her welfare and well-being, but the well-being of this unborn child.
Despite their best efforts to find LaToya, another day passes with no sign of her. On July 21st, her family files a missing persons report with the Philadelphia Police Department.
LaToya's family let the authorities know right away. This is unlike LaToya. So they really believe that something's wrong.
People were thinking, what could have happened to LaToya? Was she in a hospital somewhere and no one could identify her? Did someone snatch her? And was she still alive? It's a huge mystery.
A mystery that was about to become a rallying cry for a city. One rippling with unspeakable deceit and tangled lies that all culminates in a heart-stopping showdown. Born and raised in West Philadelphia, LaToya Figueroa was a little girl with a big heart.
LaToya would give her shirt off her back for the next person to help them out. Would truly look out for a person without even knowing them.
She was a hard worker. She had a dream of being a nurse.
She put herself on a path to succeed, and she was determined that she wasn't going to let anything stop her.
By the time LaToya reached high school, she had blossomed into a bright and beautiful young woman.
She's like 4'11", maybe 115 pounds, soaking wet. Just little and petite. A beautiful person, inside, out.
When she was just 16, LaToya fell head over heels for a classmate at West Philly High, Antoine Jenkins.
Antoine and Toya, when they first got together, they were very young. They loved each other. They really, really did.
A year later, LaToya became pregnant. Thrilled to become a mother, she and Antoine named their baby girl Aisha.
She was very responsible, very good caretaker, very interested in loving and nurturing her daughter, an involved parent.
She loved being a mom, and she was a great mom.
The love for their child wasn't enough to keep LaToya and Antoine together as a couple. After graduating high school in 1999, the two parted ways.
I believe it was a good relationship. I think that they both were just too young.
But raising a daughter on her own meant LaToya had to make sacrifices, and that meant putting her dreams of nursing school on hold.
She had 3 jobs, and one was a hostess. She worked at a marketing research firm. I mean, so driven, so determined to make sure that her daughter wanted for nothing.
As much as LaToya adored her daughter, at 23, the young woman with a shining smile and killer figure still craved something else.
She wanted to love again. She wanted to share her life with somebody.
As fate would have it, one day in late 2004, she unexpectedly bumped into an old friend.
Toya?
Stephen?
Stephen had worked at a local oil company, but he had known LaToya since high school.
He was just really, really friendly and sweet. Look at you. You look good.
You look good yourself, though.
You think?
Trust me, I know.
Toya was pretty, so I think he was attracted to her. Now, her
being attracted to him, I can honestly say he's one of the few good guys.
So you should definitely hit me up.
I'd love that. What's your number?
They started off as friends, very good friends. They were both funny, goofy, laid-back type of people.
It wasn't long before the pair's friendship blossomed into something more.
Somewhere along the line, it became an intimate situation, whereas though they went from friends to lovers.
This is good. Like,
I love it.
Really good.
He was sweet and romantic. He's the type of guy that holds the garden open, buys the flowers, stuff like that.
For LaToya, being with Steven was just easy. Steven was great with Aisha, and that meant the world to LaToya.
A fact that soon became even more important after LaToya broke some news to Steven.
I'm pregnant.
Really?
No.
That February, a few months later, after they reconnected, LaToya found out that she was pregnant.
She was ecstatic. She was totally overjoyed.
Steven was a little shocked when he found out that Toya was pregnant, but he was happy about it. He named the baby and everything.
With Steven's love and support, LaToya's future had never seemed more promising.
She had a beautiful daughter, another child on the way, and a man in her life who loved her. Life was good, and it seemed like it was only going to get better.
But on July 18th, 2005, the life Steven and LaToya were building together comes crashing down. That day, LaToya Figueroa disappears without a trace.
She's literally vanished.
Someone who typically stays connected to their family to go missing and just vanish, that's a huge red flag that something has gone wrong.
In July of 2005, LaToya Figueroa's life seemed blessed in so many ways. Already the proud mother of a 7-year-old daughter, LaToya was now 5 months pregnant with a second child, all thanks to a rekindled relationship with high school friend turned lover, Steven Poche.
They were friends first, and when they became lovers, I was just like, who really doesn't want to fall in love with a friend?
But on Monday, July 18th, after a routine prenatal visit, LaToya failed to pick up her daughter at daycare, triggering alarm bells for her family and friends.
They were hoping for the best, but also thinking of the worst, trying to put whatever clues they had together, piece together some type of story or scenario for what could have happened.
Now, 48 hours after LaToya's disappearance, her friends and family are doing everything they can to find her.
They were placing pamphlets and brochures and pictures of her all around the city of Philadelphia.
Meanwhile, Philadelphia police are ramping up their search efforts as well. They've started by looking at one of the people closest to LaToya.
When you have a case like LaToya's, it was a natural instinct for the police officers to turn to Steven Poche because he was the last person that was known to be with her.
When was the last time you saw LaToya?
The last time I saw LaToya was July 18th. Yeah, she had a prenatal appointment that morning, and she wanted me to go with her.
Steven Poche says that they went to a doctor's appointment. They went to get something to eat. They went to his apartment. She left, and he didn't see her again after that.
How was she feeling? Was everything okay?
Everything was fine. I mean, she wanted to go shopping for the baby, so, I mean, I went to the bank and got out $300.
What time did she leave the house here?
5 o'clock. She had to go pick up Aisha from daycare, yeah.
Emotionally, Steven was a wreck for multiple reasons because, one, she was pregnant with his child. No one knew where she was at.
Steven appears genuinely concerned, and when detectives follow up on his story, it checks out.
Steven's bank records show a withdrawal from that afternoon for around $300. And a neighbor claimed that they saw LaToya walking around 5 p.m. near Steven's apartment.
Steven agreed to let the police department search his home. There was no DNA, no hair, no blood, nothing to indicate that any foul play had happened at the house.
But before detectives leave, Steven drops a bombshell. One that suggests his relationship with LaToya wasn't as seamless as it appeared.
He brings in the possibility of her having other relationships with other men.
He mentions that there's a person that's giving her flowers. He mentions that there's a person that works at the Friday's restaurant.
And he also mentions the fact that she has this previous boyfriend who she has a child with.
Could one of these men be involved in LaToya's disappearance? Stephen isn't sure, but he claims LaToya might well have had beef with her ex, daughter Aisha's father, Antoine Jenkins.
He mentioned to police that Antoine was spending more time with his new wife and her kids versus spending time with, her daughter, and LaToya had a real problem with that.
Just for some of the things Toya said herself, like she would have these fiery arguments with the father of her kid, and it was a time where he did struck her.
If the allegations are true, detectives know they need to find Antoine immediately.
It doesn't take them long to find Antoine because he was with LaToya's family, putting up flyers, talking to neighbors, seemingly doing everything in his power to help try to find her.
My partner and I are investigating LaToya's disappearance, and we'd like to ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
Investigators begin by asking Antoine about his relationship with LaToya.
We know y'all have had some problems in the past, and that they might have been about your daughter. Is that true?
Yes. LaToya, she's an amazing mom. She always wanted what was best for our daughter. Sure, we had the occasional fights, but it was never serious.
Because of his sincerity, the police officers kind of ruled him out. He seems to be sincerely concerned about her welfare.
After hitting another dead end, frustrated detectives are finding few leads.
Police officers weren't able to find any activity in her bank accounts, any calls being made from her cell phone, or anything of that nature.
However, LaToya's family refuses to give up hope.
Her father, Melvin Figueroa, a trooper. I mean, this gentleman would not let the story die. He began to pester the media. He pestered the police. He pestered everybody until the story was told.
I got to stick by my daughter's side. I can't turn my back on her.
To help drum up publicity, Melvin Figueroa calls in the help of a prominent local relative, his cousin, Philadelphia City Councilman Juan Ramos.
The city, particularly our police department, is doing everything that they can.
Ramos sets up a hotline, establishes a reward, and helps turn the search for LaToya into a citywide campaign.
The only thing we can do when someone is lost is go look for them, and that's all we're doing at this time in France.
Well, it's supposed to be the city of brotherly love. If it's love out there, just please share it with us. That's all I have to say right now.
The publicity pays off, and the city bonds with one common goal: to find LaToya Figueroa.
Everyone's on board, the family's searching, the city gives supports. Everyone is doing everything they can to help find LaToya.
Dozens more leads pour in, but unfortunately none yield any credible evidence as to LaToya's whereabouts. Then on August 16th, a police team makes a shocking discovery in the Brewery Town section of Philadelphia, 5 miles away from where LaToya was last sighted.
They found a badly decomposed body of an African-American woman.
You're still hoping for the best, but in your inside, you're like, there's just no way. Your hopes is starting to be overshadowed by the doubts and, your fears. She may not be coming back.
It's been nearly a month since 24-year-old single mother LaToya Figueroa vanished from the streets of Philadelphia. 5 months pregnant with her second child, LaToya's plight has gripped the community and left her loved ones devastated.
Very disturbing. Very, like a limbo type feeling. You really don't know how to feel. You're still hoping for the best.
On August 16th, police find a badly decomposed female corpse 5 miles from the West Philly street where LaToya was last spotted, causing the hopes of the community to plummet.
Everyone was terrified this could be LaToya. As soon as the family heard about the discovery, they rushed to the scene.
After securing the crime scene perimeter, investigators take a look at their victim.
All right, how long do you think it'll take to get an autopsy going?
About 24 to 48 hours.
24, 48 hours.
When the official report reaches investigators, the findings are conclusive.
It was not LaToya because of the physical characteristics of this woman.
Their Jane Doe had short hair, whereas LaToya's hair was long. And most importantly, the victim was obviously not 5 months pregnant.
Although LaToya's friends and family breathe a sigh of relief when they hear the news, the fact remains. police are still no closer to finding LaToya.
There's also some frustration in this case because there are really not a lot of physical clues. She just vanished.
She didn't seem to have any enemies, and there was no reason anyone would want to hurt her.
That is, until detectives come across a police report filed on April 28, 2005, 3 months prior to her disappearance.
LaToya Figueroa is coming home from work, and a woman approaches her from behind, throws her to the ground, kicks her in the stomach, takes her pocketbook, and then jumps in a car with a black male, and they drive away.
According to the incident report, LaToya was over 2 months pregnant at the time.
She was rushed to the ER, and thank goodness her and the baby were okay.
At the time, it was thought to be an unrelated robbery attempt, but in retrospect, police started to wonder if this woman could have possibly been connected somehow to Miss Figueroa's disappearance.
While detectives try to ascertain the identity of LaToya's 2 assailants, authorities in Philadelphia are beginning to suspect the worst.
LaToya still isn't found. And so at that point, the worst is assumed. She was responsible. She was dependable. Didn't seem like the type of individual that would just take off and not notify her family or friends of her whereabouts, particularly when her child would be left alone without provision.
The police begin to suspect that this is a homicide, and they begin to investigate it as that. The only problem is they don't have a body.
But handing the case over to the homicide unit could be the kickstarter this investigation needs.
If you classify it as a homicide investigation, you get the best investigators, the best detective team, presumably, all working on this case.
For the new team of investigators, that means leaving no stone unturned. However, before detectives wade too deep into the murky waters of LaToya's case, they receive a startling call from her cousin, Kertisha Davis.
Detective Jones.
The subject matter? Stephen Poche.
The police receive a tip that there's another woman that Stephen Poche was dealing with.
She was like a high school sweetheart of his. Yeah, he was head over heels for her.
But that's not all.
She was pregnant at the same time as Miss Figueroa.
According to Kertisha, the other woman's name is Lena Thompson.
They were always friends. It'd be an off and on thing with them. With him and Lena, it was like they just stopped for a few, took this long break. And then it was like, oh, well, I'm talking back to her.
Kertisha says that even before Lena or LaToya became pregnant, there was no love lost between the 2 women.
Lena, you need to leave. I've been telling you about talking to her. Lena, you need to leave. What are you doing here? Lena, you need to leave. I told you about talking to her. I told you this was my man. We've talked about that here. You get out of here. Get your car and keep going.
Anybody that knew him knew who Lena was. They did not like each other. They had words, and it wasn't good words.
How many times I have to tell you, Stephen? I don't want you dealing with her. I don't want you dealing with her.
Stephen, though, apparently navigated between the 2 women with the smooth composure of a diplomat.
He did not like that confrontational stuff. He didn't want it to be them bumping heads. So that's pretty much what it was about. Just like, look, let's squash it.
That plan worked until Lena and LaToya each came to Stephen with their own surprise announcements.
Stephen was shocked when he found out that both girls were pregnant.
Detectives pressed Kertisha for more details on this shocking new lead.
It wasn't like he was trying to get both girls pregnant at the same time. And I know that sounds crazy because it's like, use a condom. However, he loved both girls. He just didn't want to hurt them.
So here he is trying to juggle these 2 pregnancies, and everybody's like, wow, this really changes the focus of the case.
Namely, it means police have a potential new suspect in LaToya's disappearance.
The fact he had this other woman pregnant, is she upset that Stephen has 2 people pregnant at the same time? Could she be a possible doer in this crime?
Not to mention how this revelation paints the man at the center of this torrid love triangle in an entirely different light.
That raises red flags. You also have another girl pregnant. That's not good. That's going to make any detective suspicious.
But before investigators sit down with Stephen Poche a second time, they first want to talk to the other woman vying for his affections. And what she's about to say would quash any doubts as to who was the victor in this jilted game of hearts.
The situation was a ticking time bomb. It was about to explode, and someone was going to get hurt in the fallout.
As the search for missing 24-year-old mother, Latoya Figueroa, reaches the end of its first month, detectives have discovered that the father of Latoya's unborn child, Stephen Poche, is involved in not one, but two steamy relationships.
He is stuck between a relationship with two women. Two women he has pregnant at the same time.
Steven responded to them both being pregnant like any guy would. Like, oh, what did I just do?
Naturally, investigators are curious if this development had any bearing on Latoya's disappearance. So they sit down with Stephen's other love interest, Lena Thompson.
Listen, we know that Stephen Poche is the father of your child and Latoya's. That must have made you upset.
I just wanted Stephen to be happy.
Did you have anything to do with her disappearance?
No.
What did you do when you found that Latoya was pregnant with his child too?
Stephen didn't even want that baby. He wanted Latoya to have an abortion. There's this phone conversation that happens between Latoya, the girlfriend, and Stephen, where the girlfriend and Stephen are asking Latoya to get an abortion. And she says no, that is not something that she would be willing to do. And so for Stephen, I could imagine that he was feeling like he was losing control.
Police know that when a situation like this one spirals out of control, bad things can happen. Detectives can't help but wonder if Latoya's street robbery 4 months earlier wasn't as random as it first appeared.
There were rumors that there was a guy who had some females attack Latoya, made it look like a robbery, and that this was going to be a kind of on-street abortion by beating her in the stomach to the point where she miscarries.
Now, you and Stephen wouldn't have had anything to do with that attack, would you? Seems like a pretty good way to get rid of a baby, huh?
That's crazy. Like, I had nothing to do with that. I swear.
The rumors of the attack were just that, rumors. Nothing the police found directly tied Lena or Stephen directly to the attack. Lena's alibi on the day of Latoya's disappearance checked out, so they had to let her go.
But investigators still have a few questions for Stephen, so they sit down with him for a second time.
Why didn't you tell us about Lena's pregnancy?
Because it had nothing to do with this.
Really? Asking Latoya to have an abortion had nothing to do with her or her disappearance?
I didn't ask her to have an abortion. Who said that? She disappears all the time. She does this thing all the time.
That's what she did when she got mad. She shut everybody out, and I don't know if she would like leave town or whatever the situation may be, but she was shut down and she was just like not want to be bothered with anybody.
However, those who know Latoya best say that she would never do anything of the kind.
I never thought that Latoya had taken all, her whole life was her daughter. So to believe that she would just leave her like that, never.
There's something about his mannerisms, his gestures, the story he's telling. The police officers are suspicious.
And detectives aren't the only ones who have become suspicious about Stephen's story in the month following Latoya's disappearance.
We just feel as though he knows something because he was the last person to see her.
Latoya's family really believed he had something to do with her disappearance. They just couldn't prove it.
Through it all, Stephen continues to proclaim his innocence.
I didn't murder anybody. Why are you not listening to me?
Emotionally, Stephen was a wreck. He was like, yo, why are her family members and stuff blaming me? Not only was he being blamed, but he was being targeted.
But without any physical evidence linking Poche to Latoya's disappearance, there's nothing anyone can do.
Okay, so do you have anything on me? Because if you don't have anything on me, I'm ready to go.
They interrogated him for hours on end. He was able to be let go because they had no proof he was showing any foul play in the whole ordeal.
If you don't have the body, you can't have a murder.
That is until an unlikely witness steps forward with a chilling story. A story that may just finally reveal what happened to Latoya Figueroa.
The informant contacts the Philadelphia Police Department and tells him that a man calls him, wants him to get a van, a shovel, and of all things, a body bag.
4 weeks after Latoya Figueroa mysteriously disappeared, the Philadelphia Police Department receives a shocking call that will change the course of this investigation.
The Philadelphia Police Department receives a tip from a concerned citizen that an individual that he knew had contacted him about getting his hands on a body bag.
Why else would somebody want a body bag if they weren't intending to put a body in it?
According to the tipster, William Mason, he believes the body could be that of LaToya.
Obviously, that got the attention of the detectives right away, and so too did the identity of Mason's friend. It was Stephen Poche.
Stephen Poche had contacted him about getting his hands on a truck, a body bag with shovels, and was interested in hiding or burying a body.
However, investigators are initially suspicious. For starters, William Mason has a criminal record.
Not only did Mason have a record, but police had already searched Poche's home, and there was no evidence to indicate that a crime had taken place there.
Even while they're feeling skeptical about the tip, there's a sense of desperation because at this point, LaToya's been missing for a month. They were running out of any other credible leads.
But there's still one thing missing from William Mason's story: a body. So investigators hatch a plan of their own.
They have the informant contact Stephen Poche to let him know that he got the items that he wanted them to get.
The cops say, okay, well, I'll tell you what, we'll give you a van, we'll give you some stuff, and we'll send you down there with him.
The police were going to set a trap. They're going to follow this informant and they're going to trap them.
On the night of August 19th, 2005, Mason arranges to meet Stephen at a vacant lot in Chester, Pennsylvania, 15 miles southwest of Philadelphia.
Hey man, what took so long?
Chester is like a rural area outside of Philadelphia. If you're going to hide a body or dump a body, you'd be more inclined to do it in Chester County, thinking that no one would ever find it. He's in his vehicle. The friend who's supposed to help him move the body is in that separate vehicle. But little does Stephen know that friend has some type of GPS connection to the police. So they're following Stephen and the friend.
The police follow them down to Chester. They see Stephen Poche go into this field on 4th Street, go through a hole in the fence.
Man, this place creeps me out. What you doing, man? Hand me some. Hand me some.
But as Stephen starts to dig, law enforcement surveillance team notes something troubling.
Stephen had 245s and a bulletproof vest on.
They find that he's armed, and they find that he is apparently ready to do harm to someone, and perhaps even the person who helped him to move that body.
Fearful that William Mason could be the next victim, officers move in.
As Stephen is about to take the body out, the lights come on, the sirens come on, and you talk about somebody being caught red-handed.
Suspect has fled the scene. All officers be advised. Suspect is armed and dangerous.
Philly police apprehended Stephen at the scene and took him into custody without a shot being fired.
With Stephen Poche now safely in custody, a team of officers searches the surrounding area and soon finds what's left of LaToya's remains.
When they found her body, it was badly decomposed, but then she has these tattoos on her back, and they're able to identify her. And then they find these fetal bones with the body. Just heartbreaking.
She had been in a trash bag for 30 days in 100+ degree weather. And she had went from 130 pounds to 30 pounds when they found her. Very devastating.
The Delaware County coroner examines the body, and they find that the cause of death is asphyxiation.
For friends and family, it's a devastating turn of events. But after over a month of anguish, any answer is better than the agony of the unknown.
Probably one of the hardest things that a police officer has to do is to tell a loved one that they have discovered, found that the person that they've been looking for all this time is in fact dead.
It was relief. It was relief as far as you don't want to be in that limbo area anymore. I'm not wondering if it's this way or if it's that way.
But if Stephen Poche hadn't panicked and led police to the body, there's a good chance he may have never been caught.
There was no evidence in his home that there was a struggle or if that she was there. He cleaned up behind himself pretty well.
Nevertheless, Stephen did make the mistake of trying to move LaToya's body. And when he's taken into custody, he makes a shocking confession.
It was all an accident. I didn't mean to kill her.
Stephen is arrested and gives a statement to the detectives that he killed her, that it was an accident in response to a fight that they were having.
Stephen puts this all on LaToya. He claims that during an argument over another girlfriend and the fact that she's pregnant, that LaToya gets agitated and attacks him. And he trying to restrain her.
Poche says she's hitting him, and he grabs her by the neck in order to get her to stop hitting him, that he just held on too long. And that once she stopped moving after that, he just panicked.
Oh my gosh, baby. Baby, are you okay?
Babe,
wake up, please.
Regardless of Stephen's story, that evening detectives charge him with LaToya's murder and the death of their unborn child. A charge that potentially carries the death penalty in the state of Pennsylvania.
I don't really believe in hate per se, but hate would definitely be a close word to explaining how I felt. To dip him in boiling hot water, that would be too easy for him.
But would the city of brotherly love feel the same way after they hear Stephen's story play out in the courtroom? It's a question everyone's about to find out.
We have a situation where Stephen Poche didn't shoot LaToya Figueroa, didn't stab her, choked her to death, but that's manslaughter, not murder. For death penalty case, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you have to have 26 aggravating circumstances, any one of those 26. So if it's just a first-degree murder, that doesn't necessarily mean you get the death penalty. But if it's a premeditated murder and any one of those 26 aggravating circumstances, like a pregnant woman, that could come into play. So in regard to the unborn child, we knew that we were facing first degree. We knew that second and third degree were on the table, but we knew that this was really a case of, does he get executed or does he live? That's the reality.
On August 26, 2005, the body of 24-year-old expectant mother LaToya Figueroa is finally laid to rest. Those who file in to mourn the loss are still trying to cope with the shocking reality that LaToya died at the hands of her unborn child's father, Stephen Poche.
This was a heinous crime. Stephen Poche was charged with killing LaToya and their unborn child.
They literally court him in the process of moving her body, and just the evilness that's with him, anger, could not even express or explain how I felt at that moment. The community response was, of course, outrage.
Charged with first-degree murder, Stephen faces the death penalty if convicted. His defense team fears the community's animosity can make getting a fair shake next to impossible. So in the final hours before the trial, they make a bold move.
This was a death penalty case. So we knew that we had to work out any deal we could have to avoid him being executed. And that's why at the very last minute, the 11th hour, the Commonwealth agreed that if he requested a judge trial instead of a jury trial, they would take death off the table and he'd be facing life in prison.
As far as prosecutors are concerned, that's as much leniency as Stephen Poche deserves. In opening arguments, they assert LaToya's death was the result of Stephen's selfish and senseless actions.
He had another girl pregnant, was moving in with her. He didn't care about LaToya and his other child. And all he could see is trying to figure out how to get rid of this so that he can think he could be happy with this other girl and his other baby.
He told her, you have to abort this because otherwise they're going to destroy everything I'm trying to do. She refused to do that.
For the prosecution, Stephen had a clear motive. The easiest way out of this predicament was to get rid of LaToya once and for all.
LaToya Figueroa was beginning to be a strain on his other relationship. And so I think when he looked at the possibility of this child coming along, it was a commitment he was not willing to take.
It's the state's contention that following LaToya's prenatal appointment on July 18th, both she and Stephen returned to his apartment where he began his premeditated attack.
Yes, I do!
Following the murder, he cleaned up the scene, He wrapped LaToya's body in plastic bags and dumped her in a vacant lot in Chester, Pennsylvania, and he did everything he could to make it look like he had nothing to do with the crime.
And it's about a month later, when the heat really gets turned up on Poche, that prosecutors believe that he had concocted a plan to kill William Mason and frame him for the crime.
It was just a sick and unbelievable story all the way around.
The prosecutor's office was really focused on the fact that Mr. Poche had two young ladies pregnant at the same time, and he was the last person with her. They had this tip from William, and of course, the icing on the cake was a confession or the statement from Stephen.
But it's Stephen's very statement to police that's the crux of his defense team's case.
We don't want to hide his confession. We want to show his confession front and center because it proves exactly what we've been saying from day one. This was voluntary manslaughter, sudden and intense passion, and his confession shows that.
First-degree murder carries a much higher penalty than a manslaughter type of killing, where it's really a killing of circumstance.
Clearly, it wasn't premeditated. Clearly, it wasn't intentional. He freaked out, he choked her, and pressed too hard.
It's an assertion that many courtroom observers find hard to believe.
A person is going to be reacting, right? They're going to be flailing. Their face is going to probably be changing color. It's hard to accidentally choke somebody to death.
Was LaToya's death an accident or murder? Unlike most trials, the answer to that question is solely up to the presiding judge to decide. On October 17, 2006, after 7 days of testimony, he hands down his verdict.
The judge found Stephen guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 for LaToya Figueroa and 1 for her unborn child.
At the end of this, satisfaction was felt by the entire Philadelphia community.
The outcome of the case basically gives closure to the family, to the city, to those who were concerned about this missing young woman. The city can move on, the family can move on and begin healing.
Stephen Poche is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But for LaToya's devastated friends and family, the sentencing is no substitute for their loss or the grief they still feel because of one man's self-serving actions.
For a person to be so selfish and so senseless, to rob us of her, rob us of her beauty, of her presence. At the end of the day, God is the judge, and he's judging him. He's going to judge him. He's got to answer for what he's done.
This case involving Stephen Poche and LaToya Figueroa, a tragedy all around. Stephen Poche is still alive. His family can come to see him anytime they want in jail. But LaToya Figueroa's family, the best thing that they can do is to go to the cemetery. So although it's a tragedy all around, it's by leaps and bounds much more of a tragedy for the family of LaToya Figueroa.